Welcome to a Patreon update. The lightsaber. Usually horrible at recording these, by the way, so bear with me. It's been an exciting year. Thank you for backing Classic Game Room on Patreon. There's like 1,000,001 things I could talk about. I've got a couple minutes here, so I'm trying to think of what to talk about. I've had a lot of questions and comments over the past week regarding Patreon specifically, but also the direction of the show, where are you going next year. Classic Game Room will continue. I have worked hard at streamlining the production process. Over the past 2 years, I've had 24 months of declining patronage on Patreon. So the fact that they recently put through a price hike and scared off even more patrons is not surprising to me at all. Those of us who've been around for a while remember life before the internet. And we remember that not every internet company lasts forever. It's so easy to forget MySpace and Netscape and Lycos and Alta Vista and even Yahoo and all these places that were once big players. And then they're not big players. There's only a few like Amazon, which have been around forever and continue to grow. And of course, Amazon has been a big point of my focus for the past year, and I'm very pleased with the direction that's taken. So I think were it not for some of the decisions I made at the end of last year and early this year, I'd be sweating a bit more than I am at the moment. So Patreon raised their rates. I think that's not the issue so much as it's the way they handled it. I read their email, which was terrible. The worst, the most poorly written email, one of the most poorly written emails I've ever read regarding a price hike. Like, they're not doing it for the good of the world. They're doing it because they're a company and they need to raise their rates. I don't think that that's that hard to understand, but the way that they've positioned themselves as this lovey-dovey company that's there for the arts is nonsense. I think they just could have handled their price hike differently. Now, as creators, we had no idea this was coming, and then they go and hit you with it, which is nuts. I thought, if anything, they would have hit us. But anyway, a number of you have left, so you're probably not watching this. But those of you who have stuck around, thank you. I've had a bunch of people contact me saying that you want to support CGR but not Patreon. I understand that, and I assure you I am looking at other means of financing at this point. So in addition to obviously moving heavily into publishing and some other things, I am eyeing up some other funding areas, some funding opportunities. The fun days on the internet are over. The days where those of us who do not have 20 million subscribers could just make videos and know that people would view them and that ad revenue would cover the cost of the videos. Those days are over. The ad models just shot, and you've probably heard about a lot of people losing their ad revenue altogether on YouTube, especially if there's any foul language or suggestive content or violent content in the videos, because YouTube's taken a very aggressive stance against hate videos and inappropriate content because the advertisers don't like them. So that has, and the way that they've handled that, I think, has been poor as well. There's a lot going on in this area. So will Classic Game Room continue? Yes. I've been through a lot of this. I don't want to say I've been through this before, but I've been through a lot of different challenges. And since I do own the show, I can do what I want with it. Production has been streamlined. So as much as I miss the Mark III era where I could spend, like 20, 30 minutes setting up lights and cameras, I just can't do that anymore with the current level of Patreon and YouTube issues to deal with. So the show will go on, continuing its mission to cover weird and rare and obscure games. In fact, I've just wrapped up the review of Little Samson for the NES. Thank you, Derek, for sending this to the show. We're going to jump cut right to this. I had a brain fart. Over the past couple of weeks, I've been shipping CGR Supreme, and the last of those finally just went out the door this morning. So I am done shipping the CGR Supremes to those of you who sent me your addresses. There's a few left. So if for some reason you have not responded to your Kickstarter survey, please do. And I'll ship it out after Christmas at this point. The post office is an absolute mess at the moment. Anyway, that was taking a lot of my time. Now that I'm free of that, I'm going to clean up the studio and reorganize everything. The past year's been wild, and I've taken everything off the shelf to photograph it. Most of it makes it back onto the shelf. Some of it just gets scattered about, and I need to collect it all and reorganize it. I hate having things disorganized. It drives me nuts. Then also I like to concentrate a bit more on some Atari games and whatnot. I've got a whole lot of stuff. The show continues to get squeezed and squeezed and squeezed and squeezed and squeezed, but it does still run. And I'm planning to hit 2018 with a clean slate. I'm going to change a couple things on the Patreon and adjust it to the new funding reality and the reality that a lot of people just left. And the reality that, like a lot of other companies, Patreon may not be around forever, especially if they continue to do stupid things. So, 2018 will continue, and the show will continue, but there's going to be a few changes. And I'm not even entirely sure what they're going to be yet. So, I'm just going to end it at the moment because I'm not sure what else to even say except thank you. It's been an exciting year. Actually, a lot of great things have happened. I got this awesome email on one of my awesome message on one of my social media channels the other day that said, I should just stop writing books. That's what I love about the internet. Like, why? Why should I stop writing what's actually working and what I enjoy to do? But apparently they didn't like it, so that means I should stop. I love entitlement on the internet. Love it. People have gotten so used to everything working, I think it's going to surprise them when when things stop working at some point. I don't mean like the entire internet, but not every company is going to survive. But Lord Carnage will, because he's Lord Carnage. Can a planet's atmosphere quench the big thirst of Lord Carnage? Nothing can quench the big thirst of Lord Carnage. I've actually really enjoyed getting into publishing. I'm not sure what I've talked about and have forgotten to talk about in various podcasts or updates lately, but before I got into video, I actually did a lot of work in the publishing industry, working on advertising and stuff. And that really hasn't changed all that much. The tools they're tricky, but had a good time with it and really enjoy writing. And I'm planning to put a lot more into drawing and writing over the next year. Now, the show's going to continue, but you will see a lot more comics from me. I have several other how-to books in the works. The Ultramassive series, which has been done awesome over the past year, will continue. Volume 3 is due out in March. And then there will be other ones which are game console specific after that. Magnum Skywolf is almost complete. And a bunch of things which are like almost complete. Retro Noir is almost complete. Jesus 3 is almost complete. My recent old-timey pictures with silly captions, which actually reminds me of The Far Side. Always really enjoyed The Far Side. Has done actually pretty well since its launch, and there will be more of those because that's the kind of thing I just unwind at night and look through some old newspapers and just come up with stupid things, and it actually works pretty well. It's fun to do. I'm a weird, sick, and twisted person, so I look at a picture that's like a political picture from the 1890s or a wholesome family picture, and to me it's like, well, there's obviously some sort of sex, drugs, and alcohol and violence in here somewhere. So let's find it. And then, or lasers and monsters. And I had one the other day with boats, which to me looked like they had cell phone towers mounted on them. But, you know, what are those things called? I don't know what those things that hold the sails on it. Masts? Cell phone towers. Why not? Anyway, lots more to come from Classic Game Room. Whether or not you continue to support it on Patreon, you know, people have asked, should I not? I can't say one way or the other. Things would have been simpler had it continued to grow, but it's very difficult to run something through like another company when people start to have issues with the other company, and then on top of that you've got YouTube, which is like a cancerous mess of just disaster. So the show lives on. Just expect a few changes, and again, thank you for your support and your patience, and hopefully the new Star Wars movie's good. Hopefully there's no Jar Jar. Pretty sure there won't be. Fairly certain Disney hates Jar Jar just as much as I do.